Good afternoon. Today I'll be walking you through my presentation, which is the market failure of user privacy on social media platforms. Advances in information technology have revolutionized the way we live our lives and interact with each other. We're constantly connected, emailing, buying goods and services on e-commerce platforms, and communicating over social media. These actions generate a significant amount of personal data, coupled with the rapid decrease in computing costs for storage, processing, and analysis of this data, has brought to the forefront some serious privacy concerns, as seen through the Cambridge Analytica scandal. I'll be using de Croo's definition of information privacy, which is a moral right for a person to have direct or indirect control over information about oneself. And I will argue in this essay that a market failure tends to persist because a monopoly social media platform tends to choose a profit maximizing level of data exploitation that exceeds the social optimum. Monopoly platforms operate in a two-sided market, matching advertisers to users and cross-subsidizing the operations of their platform with ad revenue. The level of data exploitation can be interpreted as the proportion of all data collected by the platform that can be used to personalize social media feeds and target adverts. A user's perceived payoff is made up of the access benefit plus the benefit dependent on the level of data exploitation minus the cost of data exploitation. Users are heterogeneous in their perceived cost and data exploitation theta, which is distributed between 0 and 1 uniformly. If the access benefit is sufficiently large, then all users will access the platform independent of the level of data exploitation. If this isn't the case, then there's going to be a maximum level of data exploitation, the coverage level, such that all users access the platform. A user's perceived cost of data exploitation is systematically lower than the actual cost of data exploitation because there's limits on an individual's ability to process and memorize all relevant information and to effectively evaluate the cost. The difference is captured by the term lambda, and with this we can calculate total welfare, which is the integral of the actual payoff function between 0 and the level of demand for the platform. When the market is covered, welfare is seen in equation 3, and when it isn't, equation 4. A monopoly's platform's profits is made up of the revenue per user, which is concave in X, and also demand. If the access benefit is sufficiently large, then demand is constant and profits everywhere increasing in the level of data exploitation. When it isn't sufficiently large, profit will never be less than the coverage level, as demand below the coverage level is constant, equal to 1, and everywhere increasing, and profits everywhere increasing in X. And between the coverage level and 1, demand is the minimum function. And by computing the elasticity of profit, we can see that it's increasing in the level of data exploitation, implying that the optimal is either at the coverage level or 1. And the optimal choice involves a comparison at these 2 points. Here's the sketch. Total welfare, when the market is covered, is seen in equation 1, and the social optimal is calculated by equation 2. Therefore, when the unique low social optimal level is less than the profit maximizing level, we have a market failure. When the market isn't covered, total welfare is seen in equation 3. By computing the elasticity, again, we can see that the elasticity is increasing in the level of data exploitation when lambda is equal to 0. As the divergence between the perceived cost and the actual cost to data exploitation increases, that leads to an excess in demand. These excess users have negative welfare, and as a consequence, total welfare falls. Here's a sketch of total welfare. Finally, touching on externalities, users' data can generate a negative externality where psi is the proportion of data exploited from users that has a cost on non-users. The presence of externality reduces total welfare for all levels of data exploitation above the coverage level. And therefore, it could be a source of the market failure or exacerbate existing problems. So, in conclusion, a market failure persists because of a sufficiently large access benefit, bound irrationality problems, and also externalities generated from data exploitation. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Here's my bibliography.